So this is now being recorded, as you all know. So Sid, you're looking to discuss this evening the usage of porn in conservative Islamic nations. Is that correct?
Yes, my name is Ahmed. You can all call me Sid. I'm from Pakistan, and there is a huge notion, and maybe it's true from the Google Analytics, that Pakistan is the biggest consumer of porn. And it just might be true, I'm not denying it. What I'm here willing to discuss with people is the reasons behind countries like Pakistan and Egypt and Libya and India and Bangladesh regarding why these kind of conservative countries are consuming so much porn materials. Meanwhile, in other countries where porn is made and sexuality is actually quite open, they are not consuming porn so much, even though they are not religiously required to not do so. And I wanted to discuss these things with people, and maybe in doing so, make people understand in the West and the East what the problem is. Because the amount of porn consumed in Pakistan, and I'm a culprit in that as well. I'm not saying that I'm a holier than thou kind of person. My aim would be to actually try to pinpoint the problems that lead to this uh, unnatural magnitude of porn consumption.
And what are your views on that?
Well,
Your own personal ones, I guess.
personal ones. My personal view is as same as the Islamic. To be honest, porn is just as same as adultery, but just for the eyes. That's the Islamic law. But the thing is, people in Islamic countries are so pushed back by the cultural pressure and their biological pressure that they don't have any other alternative, because the biological clock, it will tick. You can't stop that. The culture in the Islamic countries, it has become very lucrative towards financial stability. And I would also blame women, the fathers of the women and their parents in this regard. They keep on looking for a wealthy suitor for their children. And these are conservative countries. Children most of the time don't even have the right to choose their own spouses. And then they also don't have the right to marry in the age that they seem fit. It's all up to the parents, and they do it quite late. Meanwhile, the youth of these countries do what young people do. They get sex because that's what biologically they are supposed to do. You can't stop nature. So, the people who are deviants, they would break the law. And by breaking the law, I mean getting into relationships. In the Western world, getting into a relationship is a normal thing. In Islamic cultures, there is no space for anything such as a relationship of a girlfriend and a boyfriend. At least not in a sexual perspective. These people.
I was going to ask you to clarify that, but you did, so fair enough.
Yeah. So basically, when they commit these acts, they do so in secretly, and exposing a person, especially a woman, being in a relationship with another person, it can come to drastic punishments, up to death. These are what honor killings are. Now, honor killings are not exactly an Islamic punishment, But the culture here is so toxic that they would not see that what the Islamic punishment is. They would actually kill the person. And I blame the culture for that. They're not giving these young people their right to have uh, a natural need be fulfilled. And just because of that, now there are people who are deviants. They get their sex wrong way, but they get it. Then there are other people who just would not, because in an Islamic culture, having a sexual relationship with someone other than your spouse is a big leap. It's a huge leap towards religiousness. Basically, it's like if you're going to have sex without marriage, you can even go and drink alcohol. You can do everything else. It's like that. So basically, a person who does that, he's like, I don't care if I'm going to hell. Now, there are other people who do. What do? They take the option of the porn. These are those people. They don't have any other way, and they also get sexually frustrated. You cannot compare watching porn to actually having sex. And the funny thing is, Islam actually encourages you to have sex, but with your spouse. It's considered a form of worship. And I'm not kidding here. It's written. It's written in the scriptures that when you satisfy your spouse, it is as if you are you are performing an act of worship.
Okay. I wasn't expecting it to get quite so interesting quite so quickly, but we have a person in the call here who I think might have some disagreements with you. I'm not entirely sure how many. Hakan, are you with us? You're on mute at the moment, and that's at your end. Are you able to speak this evening?
I can't.
Maybe
Would you?
he can't speak right now.
No, he was speaking with me just like 12 hours ago, I think.
Okay.
Maybe it's
Maybe
like
he's in a
500
different
now.
location now.
Yeah, 12 hours.
Tom, what do you think about all this? You got any thoughts?
I mean, it's a repressive religion, that's it. I have no insight to like Pakistani porn consumption.
No, me neither. I wouldn't
It's
be
not
able
that
to.
it's not that the religion is oppressive. I would disagree with that. It's the culture of these people.
But I wanna ask you something, Sid. So,
Yeah.
are you allowed to have several wives where you live?
Well, in Arab countries, it's a norm to have several wives. Basically, in the Arab countries, if you have one wife, and then in a 2 or 3 years period, you don't have your second wife, your first wife would consider you a cheap person.
Okay.
That's their culture. In Arab countries, I'm not from Arabia. I'm from
No,
Pakistan.
I know.
So in
Because
Arabia, it's
I've
like if
heard
you
like
don't have in Arabia, it's like if you don't have more than one wife, you're considered a cheap person, a selfish person, a greedy person.
okay.
In
Yeah,
Pakistan,
because I've heard like if you have let's say you have a 1-to-1 ratio of women and men have 2 to 4 wives. That means some men can never have a wife because there's not
but
enough
that's
women.
that's not possible. In every country, the ratio from men to women are at least double.
Usually there are more, yeah.
Yeah, they are, and we also, and when we are saying that, we are considering the birth rates. We are not considering the death rates. Men die quickly, more, and fast,
Yeah,
and
okay.
even in younger age. Boys are more, prone to diseases. The thing in Pakistan and the South Asian countries is there are a few people who have more than one wives. My grandfather's brother had 6 wives. My uncle had 2 wives. uh, my other grandfather's brother had 3 wives. My great grandfather had 2 wives. And you maybe are thinking that these are so many people. The amount of people in my family are too big. Like my immediate family, my cousins included, that would make my family about 120 people. We multiply. So in Pakistan, people, most of the time there is only one wife.
Okay.
But it is allowed to have more than one wife if you are man enough. If you got the grit, you are in control enough, you might be able to have 2 wives. But basically, the Pakistani culture, at least the middle and upper middle class, it's run by matriarchy. In the houses, women are the boss. In the middle and upper middle classes, so it's quite hard
Okay,
to
so
have more than
how
one
does
wife.
porn play into all of this? Like, what do you think? Or why are you watching so much porn, basically?
Basically,
Yeah,
I'm
why?
25. I'll give my own example.
Sure.
I'm 25, and I was the first time, orgasmed, and something actually came out. I was 13. I reached puberty at the age of 13. I'm 25 right now. I've never touched a woman. Not that I cannot. I've had the opportunity. I'm among the very lucky people. But my religion stops me, and my family honor stops me. So where do I put all of this sexual energy? And because uh, nobody actually teaches you how much porn is okay, because sex is a taboo in this country. Even for marriages, there is no sex education. People find just talking about periods, a taboo, a thing that is very essential for women. It is a taboo. And it has been numerous cases in young women that when they have their first period, they go in such a frenzy. And usually it happens, when they're in colleges or in their schools or something like that. Just imagine the horror a girl would be going when she does not know why the fuck am I bleeding from down there. This is the cultural toxicity that we are living in.
So
And
it's the
Islam is,
culture then.
yes,
Or
because Islam,
okay.
actually in Islam, we are told that men and women should be married off as quick as possible. As soon as they reach the age to marry, we should marry them off. But in reality, what we do here in Pakistan, I'm 25 and I cannot expect to be married unless I'm 35. 10 more years. 10 more years. And it's happening all across Pakistan. I'm not the only case. Normally, the age for marriage is 35 for men. So, what do you think we're going to do for the 35 years of our lives? And we have to admit, porn can never be equivalent to an actual sexual encounter. So for sure, that person, even me, myself, we are going to watch much more porn than any person can actually have sex. Having sex requires, energy and skill. You have to put an effort. You have to, want to make the other person feel good as well. It's not just about you. Watching porn is just about you.
So the
So
reason for porn
you
consumption
go ahead.
is you marry so late. Is that it?
Yes,
Okay.
And also another factor, even once you are addicted to porn, and by 35 you can't stop, can you? Your brain is wired towards watching various and different women in various and different poses, doing various and different things, making various and different voices, of various and different colors, with various and different body structures. Will you be satisfied with one woman ever?
So, Sid, is the whole idea behind this that you're just telling us what a big, massive stud you are and how you can satisfy any woman in bed?
I didn't catch the last part.
Sorry, I was joking, but like, is this about you telling us what a big stud you are?
No, I'm not a stud. You know quite well what my position is. I'm not getting into those things at
Is
all.
it that you can withstand porn at all costs, but you can't resist a real woman? Is that what you're talking about?
No. By the time you're
Oh.
35 and you have not been in a sexual relationship with another woman, you learn how to control yourself. And that brings about another problem as well. Men don't want to marry after that because we've been through all the shit. When our hormones were fucking us deep in the ass and we were not able to sleep at night,
Yeah, but we can
we
all
had no
fuck when we
women.
get married and all,
Yeah,
right?
obviously.
Yeah, we had no women back then. That when we needed a woman the most, we had X videos and Mia Khalifa.
You speak for yourself, big boy.
Even for, I'm speaking for the Muslim countries, man. I personally don't prefer Mia Khalifa. My preferences are other porn stars, but my friends somehow prefer that porn star much more than the others, or Sunny Leone. But that's not the point.
Right, so
The point
the
is,
point is that they couldn't get any pussy in real life, so they watched
it's
some
not
porn
about
instead.
could not. It's, you know, you don't understand. When I
You're right,
started,
I
I
don't.
said that the the people who opt to not take the righteous path, they don't have this problem. They get their share of pussy, but they do so secretly. And if they are exposed, they come in a tremendous danger, a danger that can kill them.
Oh yes, of course, yeah. I appreciate that point for certain.
Another point is that the amount of people that do that is staggering. We are living in an Islamic country claiming to be built upon Islamic regulations, wanting to become the Islamic castle, to be the epitome of the Islamic values, and half of the people are committing premarital sex. How do you bring about an Islamic revolution when you are not even satisfying the youth? Now, the youth is the driving force for every nation. If you're cornering your youth to this extent, how do you expect them to be even good at anything?
Hmm. But I mean, I feel like we have answered the question. So you say it's Pakistani culture, and then that's it.
Oh no, it's not just Pakistan, you see. It's
Okay.
happening all across the Islamic world. If you see the Google analysis in regarding to on the thing that's basically started this discussion, it's happening all across the Islamic world. So basically, what these people are doing, they are not subscribing to the Islamic teaching of marrying people off early in their ages and forcing them to find a way to have sexual release.
So why are you marrying so late?
That is where our parents come in. You see, in the Western countries, young people are taught to start earning as soon as they are able to. They work in grocery stores, petrol pumps, anywhere. From the ages of 16, they are peer pressured by their parents and by their friends to find a goddamn job. That is not what happens in the East. The parents are so wrongly educated in this regard that they would spend all of their money and all of their resources so that their children can get education, and by the time they complete their education they are 25, 26, 27, and up until that age they have earned nothing. They have no work ethics. They are unable to fend for themselves. Now a person who is not even able to fend for themselves, he cannot marry now, can he? He cannot build his own house. He cannot, sustain a marriage. They're fucking us from both sides. From the religious perspective, from the cultural perspective, then not making us being able to actually revolt, actually get out of that loop. We are stuck in a place where we can't go into the front, we can't go in the back, we can't go to the sides. We're getting fucked regardless. That is the problem. They are using their power over their children to make them do what they want them to do because they did not teach them how to earn money and sustain themselves. Now we don't see that in the West. Kids I mean, youngsters as young as 16 mostly are doing summer jobs. They learn
Mm,
work ethics very early in their lives.
no, we
And if
have
they
we have
don't,
kids very late in the West, very late. You should
but
check up. It's very late actually, like around 35 or something. It's actually really high.
I didn't understand your first part. What did you mean?
That is the same issue in the West, that we have children very late.
So how do the people in the West sustain relationships?
I
I
mean,
mean,
you're
I know that
asking the wrong dude, but I don't know.
you're the one from the West. I'm not. So tell me. Actually, you know what? Clementine is in a relationship. Why don't she fill us up in that? Clem, would you like to fill us up on that? Hey, Clem.
Sorry, who are you asking for?
Clementine. Jezelyn.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. Jeslyn, are you on the mic tonight?
I was asking, she typed in the VC text. I was asking, Tom said that youngsters in the West don't get even a little bit of financial stability in
No,
their
wait, no. They have
teenagers.
they have children late, but they can have sex, obviously.
No, that's the point. But uh, having children and not having children is a very different approach. It has nothing to do with sex. People in the West get their sexual appetite appeased from the ages of 14. People are sexually active from the ages of 14. They don't have to watch porn.
Yeah, I don't know the number, but yeah, whatever.
No, that's the big notion that the Western people, because they don't have this notion of considering that the sex can only be after marriage. So, now the funny thing is, because they also have a little bit of financial stability, they're not sexually aggravated. They can actually choose to be married to someone that they feel like. And though the divorce rates are high, marriages happen in earlier ages, don't they? Or something close to a marriage, because I know that marriages cost a lot in the West. They cost a lot everywhere, but uh, a live-in relationship kind of thing.
I
By
mean,
the
where I
time,
live, marriage has died out. Very few
that's
people will actually become married because they
no.
don't see a reason
The
for it.
thing is, the thing is, marriage is obsolete in the West.
I mean, especially
So
Sweden. I can't talk for the whole Europe. For whole
yeah,
Europe.
no. The thing is, you have to understand what we cannot compare the Western marriages to the Eastern marriages anymore, because what a live-in relationship is in the West is equivalent to a marriage in the East. Two people who say that they are in a relationship, when they are living together and having kids, nobody thinks that they are doing anything wrong, are they? So when two people can have children together and the society thinks of it as normal, I think that position should be considered equivalent to marriage in the Eastern world. And people in the West, as young as 19, 20, 21, 22, in this age factor, get in a relationship where they can consider having children together, given that they have the finances. So, uh, I'm going to ask Clementine, how do the Western relationships work? Because in the East, a relationship of a girlfriend and boyfriend, it has to remain a secret. Otherwise, people are in danger. Hey, Clem! By the way, I'm the only one being asking. Nobody's giving an input here.
I mean, you are the Muslim, and you are the one who lives in Pakistan. You know. So I
But
mean, the
come on,
topic was about the porn consumption in Arabic countries.
okay.
I mean, it has been pinned down to be, I guess, marriage, late marriage.
Yes, late marriage is a very important thing. Also, the culture in where sex is considered taboo. It is human nature to go. It is the most human thing to do what we are not allowed to do. If it was not, the first uh, ship would have not sailed. The first plane would have flew. The first woman would have not been loved. Okay, as if a 16-year-old in a relationship for what? A week now, in a relationship for... I don't understand what free mammograms is trying to imply here. What are you implying here? Mammograms? Speak up! Mammograms! What are you trying to imply?
Maybe he can't
Or are
open
you
his
just...
mic right now. I don't know.
Well, I pinged him. Maybe he's out of the
I
server
can
or
see you
something.
did. Yeah. I mean, this is basically going to
About
be
what?
people asking you questions because, as I
There
mentioned
is
before,
only
as far as I know,
one person.
the only
There is only one
yeah.
person.
So
But there is only one person asking me questions. Who came?
you broke up,
Okay,
Sid.
now it's going to be fun. I said now it's going to be fun. No label is in the house.
Okay.
Hey,
Um,
hey label, why don't you ask me anything? Gancho. Come on, you. Is his mic working or what?
No label. I think you're muted on your end. So
He
breaking up
sounds
a
like
bit
a
for me.
robot.
Yeah,
No, it's
you are a
breaking up for
robot.
everyone.
He might come back. Maybe he's got to restart Discord or something.
Okay, so you take the discussion to the next direction, ST.
Well, I mean, like I said earlier, I'm not here to debate this evening because I genuinely don't have the energy. But
Just give it a direction.
give it a direction. I think porn is fine.
No, it is fine. But the extent of porn being used, especially when it's considered wrong in Islam, that is the problem. Because,
So, I mean, it's going to be difficult to just apply this to people who belong to the religion of Islam, because as far as I know, you're the only one. I mean, obviously, I'm not a member of the religion of Islam. So,
Yeah, I'm not a Muslim.
you know,
So
I
saying
know.
that, oh, it goes against Islam, not to be rude or anything, of course, but
No,
I
no, no,
don't
not at
care.
all. The thing is, it's not even allowed in Christianity or any
I'm
other
not a
religion.
Christian
the
either.
only Christian is Hakon, I think, so it doesn't matter. But you can say like this:
Exactly,
it's
but
not like illegal in Vedic
yeah, but
scripture, but it's
it's just
they
like
say we
drugs.
shouldn't do it because
It's
when you're
drugs.
coming, it's viewed as like sexual energy that can be used to other things.
Exactly. And it's being wasted just because of the wrong cultural perspective that you can only marry once you are completely financially stabilized. And I also would
Dude,
blame
you
women
want to
for
try?
this.
You want to try coming to the UK? Fuck.
I'm I'm actually what's with UK?
Well, everyone gets married over here. Um, whether there's any point to it or not is for another discussion. But I mean, I don't. Right. Okay. You wanted something juicy for the conversation, right? And I'm getting a little bit of energy now. So I think
Yep.
sex outside of marriage is just fine.
I know it is in the Western world, but uh,
Which is where I live. So.
it all comes down to having respect for the other person.
I can
Uh,
respect a woman
no,
while
no,
I'm
no,
fucking
no,
her
no,
brains out.
it's not like that.
I know
When
this
you
is
are
why you don't want me in on this conversation, right? You
no,
just
I
need me to
want you.
moderate.
No, I want you, man. You are going to make this discussion the best thing. Uh, the thing is, the Islamic perspective or the religious perspective, to be frank, is that sex is something that is the basis of making a society because it is the basis of making the house. Now, a house is the unit of making a society.
Well, I agree with you that sex is the basis of making a society because that's what causes humans to exist. And without humans, we wouldn't have societies. So,
Exactly.
sure.
And a house, a family, is how, I mean, humans could have existed without a society,
Hmm.
given if we were unsocial animals. But we are not.
No, we're
We
very
need a
social.
society.
We're so
Uh,
social.
the-
We fuck each other all the time.
yeah, but in a society, we need a social unit. One human is not a social unit in a society. A family is. A household is a
Right.
social unit.
I understand what you mean. So, yes.
And you were saying that everyone in the K gets married uh, for any purpose. What was your
Well, I
what did
mean, not everybody. I'm being slightly hyperbolic
majority
here.
of people, majority of the people, a fair amount of people get married for nothing? What was your meaning by that?
Well, they do. I mean, I actually believe it's on the decline, marriage, because people are seeing less and less value in it. And I must admit, if I'm honest, I'm one of those people. I don't really see the value in getting married.
That's because in the
To me, it's
West,
it's just a piece of paper.
exactly, in the West, the marriage has dwindled down to just a piece of paper.
Hmm.
So, but the family unit, because we live in a society, you can change the name, you cannot change the concept. A family is the basic unit of a society, a household.
Right.
In the
Well, you,
West,
you you
they
can
do
have
have
families and
exactly,
households without marriage, though.
exactly, but they are in a, confined. A relationship is a confinement of one person to another, and
A
that is basically
relationship,
marriage. A
sure.
relationship, exactly,
No,
and that is
marriage is an
marriage.
institution. It's a legal concept.
Exa- in the West, it has dwindled down to a legal concept. In the East,
Well,
it is
that's
what
what it
a
actually is.
no. In the West, it is that. It is that in the West.
I mean,
In the
okay,
East,
right. I'll give you this. It is what you make it. Obviously, in
no, no,
your
no. It's not
culture,
just no, no, no.
it's
It's
something
not
much
that. You
different.
see,
But
no, no, no. It's not that.
go ahead.
You see, what we consider marriage in the East and all its compulsions, they are considered what you call in the West as a live-in relationship.
Hmm. Sure.
Now, I mean, frankly speaking, in Pakistan, a person can get married without any legal actions required. They would just not
Yeah.
have they would just not have the legal things to support them or whatever, and basically the country doesn't give shit about who's marrying who, so there is no legal support. It's just paperwork.
Hmm.
The Islamic marriage is called a nikah. If you fulfill those conditions,
It's called what? Sorry, you cut out.
nikah,
I missed that.
nikah, nikah.
Okay.
If you fulfill the conditions of a nikah, you can basically fuck a girl. The conditions for a nikah is
He cut out for me. I don't know if it's for anybody else.
Yeah, he died off.
Sid, are you still with us? I think maybe he's having a connection problem, which is fine. I'm sure he'll be back in a couple of minutes. So I mean, do any of you guys have any questions for Sid about his culture? Sid, your connection is not very good at the moment. Maybe you want to try restarting Discord. We'll also be here when you get back. Don't worry. Can everyone else hear me? I'm assuming you can.
Yeah,
Am I clear enough?
yeah.
Cool. So to avoid dead space, Spaghetti, welcome to the chat. To avoid dead space, does anybody have anything in mind that they want
is
to ask this guy? I said you're back. Welcome.
oh, fine, good, thank God.
That's all right. It wasn't your fault. It's just Discord.
Connection issues. Anyways, where did we leave?
I think you were about to concede that my position is way better than yours, and then we were going to end the discussion.
Yeah, sure. But it's an AMA, so it does not
Yeah.
matter if
No,
your
you're right.
opinion is better,
I asked
because other
people.
people have to ask.
Yes, yeah, I asked people in your short absence there if they had any questions for you. So we're gonna open the floor up and allow anybody to ask
Let
you
them at
any
me.
question they want.
Anyone? Anna, Clementine, not Dylan, mammograms, spaghetti.
You have a few questions from Hakon in general chat.
I
You can
do.
answer those.
Oh, does he really? Sorry,
Yeah.
my apologies. Right.
Okay. You guys have to tell me these things, okay?
Okay, I'll read them out to you. It says, ask him about this. Is watching people's aura a sin? Is masturbation a sin? And is fornication a sin? So I appreciate that's
Okay.
3 different
So the
questions. Take them one
aura,
at a time.
I would have to Google that because aura is an Arabic word, and I would have to translate it in my language. Aura meaning in Urdu. Aura. Oh, the genitalia.
I don't think that's what he means. I think I could be wrong, and he's welcome to correct me. I think he means spirit, because
You
here
can't.
we understand aura to be
No, that's
like
an
something
A
you can
O
see
U R.
outside the body.
No, that's an A
Beg
O
pardon.
U R A. Aura.
Oh, okay.
Hakon,
You go right ahead then, if I've got that wrong.
I think maybe I'm wrong, but if I'm wrong, you should correct me. I think he's saying that genitalia. So basically, in Islam,
I don't think that's what he means, but if it is, you go right ahead.
why don't we just Google it in Arabic? Arabic meaning. Yeah, I
If
definitely.
that's what it's showing up as, then by all means,
I
reply with your understanding of the
that
word.
is the general gist I'm getting. Is
Yeah,
watching
sure.
people's pura is a sin. Basically, yes, it is.
Okay.
Unless it is your spouse. Basically, looking at he's basically asking, can we see someone nude? We can, but we shouldn't. We can because we can. Nobody's going to stop us, but we shouldn't, Islamically speaking. And if we're talking about cultural perspective, uh, that is where porn becomes a problem. You see, porn is actually illegal in Pakistan. All the porn sites are blocked by Pakistan Telecommunications Authority. You cannot ban porn or any other thing that's on the internet from anybody. There are proxies. There are a million other ways to do what you want without getting caught. But if you are caught having pornographic material in your cellular devices, in your laptops, and by some flick of fate, they end up in a legal situation, you can actually get in trouble for that. Even though everybody knows that everybody watches porn. So yeah, it is a sin to look at other people's genitalia, and it's quite indecent if you ask me. I mean, it, it's just like the people on the internet say, send nudes. It's cute for the first few times, and then it's quite cringy. Then he asks if masturbation is a sin. Uh, yes, it is. It
That's me
is
fucked then.
no, it is considered a sin, but not a sin that is major. There is no punishment for this. Nobody can be held accountable
So you can
because they
just do it
masturbate.
anyway.
Yeah, people do it anyways, anyway. But there is no accountability for masturbation. Nobody can legally harm you. Nobody can point it out to you that you masturbate. Nobody can say that you masturbated, now you can't do this. There is no ramifications whatsoever.
So it might as well not be a sin then.
Yeah, it's a sin in the sight of God, but God is not going to
I mean,
give
Allah is
authority.
constantly seeing, right? So it's a sin to him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically,
We'll just have
when
to
you put it
pay for
like that,
him to
I
go to
mean,
bed.
I'm going to set a bit of things straight. Yeah, suppose you own a lot of cows and you look after your cows, and the cows are, getting it on. You look after your cows. You don't actually. You won't be called a pervert because you're looking at your cows getting it on. Now, would you?
Sorry,
That's
what? I didn't catch that. Sorry, I was distracted. What did you say? Something about cows. I heard cows and I've just unmuted myself. What was it?
oh man, you missed a very good thing.
I probably did.
Are you seriously discussing this?
I am.
Like masturbation again? Isn't this like the third time this week from maybe not you guys, but the group in general?
No, we have not
No,
been
we
talking
don't
about
usually
masturbation.
I
discuss
mean,
knocking one
for
out.
example, in Frank's channel, like they're basically only discussing stuff about like religion and masturbation nowadays.
No,
Okay,
that has
that's not
not happened
related to
here.
that server because we're not associated
Yeah.
with it. So
Yeah,
whatever's
Well,
going
you're.
on in here is
sadly, everyone is.
No, I've never been
that's up to them.
there, and
I mean, I'm talking about like a, how would I say it? It was like a general statement as opposed to like saying like exactly everyone is from there, but I see
no, no,
what you're
no.
talking
Even
about.
in general, I mean, I have been here for 2 weeks, and I've been
What
active
we're
for a
doing
week.
is we're having
Oh,
AMA, which is Ask Me Anything with Sid. He's a member of the Islamic religion, so he's opened the floor up for us to ask him questions. It's got nothing to do with anything from Frank Tufano's stupid ass server.
oh, oh, now that's interesting because you know, you know where I'm from,
Where are you from?
Turkey.
Ah, lovely. I'm from Pakistan.
Yeah.
Ah,
Well,
you're Muslim though.
no, my father is, but
Mm.
he isn't religious at all. He drinks. He does all kinds of shit. He
Ah,
doesn't care. My mom
same,
is spiritual,
same
but
as everyone
she isn't
actually.
Muslim.
Same as every other Islamic country, to be honest.
Yeah.
Islam has just become, um,
A
a thing
taboo?
that we called. No, no, a thing that we are called. There is a hadith that
Yes.
in the end times there will be people who will say La ilaha illallah, and
Yeah.
when other people will ask them, "What are you saying?" they would reply, "We don't know what we are saying. We don't know what it means. But our ancestors used to say this, and so we say that too." And those people would be prosecuted for that. And God says
In
that they would be forgiven as well.
oh well, Ya ilallah means like in the name of God, right?
No, La ilaha
If I recall
illallah.
correctly.
There is no God but Allah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I forgot because I used to be really into like learning not just this but each religion a really while ago. But now that I'm like not into this stuff, just so I don't bother my mind, since I'm like coming off of this stuff, which
Mm.
many people love, respect. I'm like, I don't want to bother myself. So with like conflicts of different ideas and like viewpoints in religion. So that's why I kind of forget this stuff, to be
No,
honest.
it's
They
it's
always say it here.
okay. I mean, Turkey is
By the
being
way, teenagers in football matches say it, but only when they're like joking around. That's what
I
they
mean,
do here.
but I thought that Turkey is becoming practicing Muslim. That's what
Well,
I had the gist of.
Turkey is actually like becoming more diverse, but the government is becoming more Islamic in a in a perverted way, to be honest. I mean, I
Perverted way.
yeah,
Can
because
you?
they're just yeah, they're using it to yeah, well, that was a metaphor, but they're using religion to impose their guidelines and like their how would I say it, like their rules, their like their ideologies. They're
Like
using
any other government, like any other government using any other ideology, basically.
Well, not most of them, but when it comes to Middle East, yeah, any other governments. Yeah, you're right. But for example, when it comes to states, it's not a thing. When it comes to England, it's not a thing. But
Of
let's say
course it
when it
is. I
comes
mean,
to
I can't say
Africa,
that about I can't say about
well, of course, to us some,
the
well, of course, to
United
some
Kingdom.
extent, but not like it is
In
in here.
America, I mean, in America, capitalism is used as an ideology
Well,
to.
capitalism isn't a religion. I was
It
talking
is an
about religions.
ideology. It is an
Yeah,
ideology.
well, it is an ideology, yeah, but I see what you're talking about. But I meant they're using religion as their primary ideology in regards to ruling
They
the
are using
governments.
part of the
But
religion.
capitalism is a ideology that's like that has been made in the within the context of ruling a country anyway. It's like communism and stuff. It's a way of
Exactly.
ruling your
What
country.
I'm
It's not
saying,
religion. But
what I'm saying is, Islam as a religion is versatile. It has many aspects. Now,
so,
the ideology of Islam is also an aspect. So when
I
we are
see.
comparing Islam to other ideologies, we will consider the Islamic ideological aspect, not the religious aspect, because Islam is not just a simple religion of
Of course, it is an order, just like Christianity or
I mean, it comes with the whole
Judaism.
package.
Of
It comes with
course,
the whole
it's
package: the spirituality, the way of living, the politics, the ideology, what to do
of
in
course
warfare.
politics. Of course, politics have always been in religion, but I see what you're talking about now. You also see capitalism as a form of belief, as just like religion, because it shouldn't be like religious per se, but I see what you're talking about. Since it is still a belief of like you
Exactly.
have to
So
believe in something, you have to choose it.
exactly. So
It's not like a fact, right? You
it's
have to
as
believe,
same
have
so
faith in it.
Turkey is same as any other country. That's what I'm saying. It's
Of
nothing new.
course. Yeah, of
But
course, but
the start of this discussion was that why is porn consumed so vastly in the
but
Islamic countries?
one thing I don't agree with that is before I get into that, when it comes to, for example, capitalism, it doesn't just justify your morals. It doesn't give you a justification, a way of determining whether that's something spiritual. That's something you have faith in just for the sake of
Okay, but that's because no,
living a way of life.
I would give you
That's
the
more
counter to that.
economical and political.
No, no, I will
While
give you
religion
a
comes with
relation to
the whole
that.
package. But you've said it yourself. Religion comes with the whole package. It's not just
No, 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 no,
politics
no,
and stuff.
no. You're forgetting something. You have to translate. You don't just have to translate languages. You also have to translate cultures.
Yeah, of
In the
course.
Islamic culture, what you say is, I mean, people would be considered immoral and whatnot. But in the Western culture, especially in the US, that would translate to what's that called? What's that word? Patriotism. You would be considered unpatriotic. So basically, it's the same repercussion, but in another form.
Yeah, of course. Like you've said, that have always been the case. But what I was trying to say is there are some not limitations, but there are some points of interest that are different than in religion when compared to a government, like a way of an ideology that's for like ruling your governments. But
Just like I
what we
said,
could just but we could just come to the point of like we could just come to an execution of just like accepting the fact that we should be working towards a better world, not a new, but like a maybe a new or better world order. For example, like how do I say it? Like banning all non-factual ideologies that have been created in the extent of just earning profits for the government and stuff, or like banning all religion and uh, like cultural enforcement from religion, like governments, but
But you
that's far
can
from
never fact.
that's
No, no,
far
I would
from
have to
likely
stop you
to
from that.
happen.
Uh, there is no ideology that can be factualized. Ideology is a social science. It is not a physical science. Ideology, from the crux of it, would always be subjective. Any ideology, without exception, it would always be subjective. You cannot put a hardcore limitation on one ideology being right or wrong, because there will always be someone who would have something against it.
Yeah, of course, that's why we should ban all of it.
Okay?
So I think there should
If
be
you
like, I
no,
think
if
we
you
should
ban it,
find a common interest. I think we shouldn't just defend our ideologies. I think humans just should work together to maybe like at least the majority, since not everyone would be able to work together in regards to finding a new ideology of like ruling like countries, the system, like the world
it's
order.
not practical. It's not practically possible,
Well,
because
it,
humans
it
will
would
always
be,
humans will always have conflict of interest.
of course, but that's why I've said the majority. We should. I think it would take a lot of. I mean, it would take a long time.
No,
It
no,
wouldn't
no.
consist.
Even no, you're not realizing that humans thrive on adversary. Once a people have a majority, that majority will short divide.
Well, sure, but I see that. I mean, people see that as a very narrow-minded belief like when it comes to like people never being able to change. Like, but what I'm is saying here
What do
is
you
like
mean by
being
never being
somewhat.
able to change? What do
What
you mean by never being able to change? What do you mean by that?
what I mean by that is that I was just trying to be more open-minded about it when it came to like be more flexible about my idea when it came to not like the entire humanity like accepting one ideology, which is true. I give you that, but I also think that at least a majority, let's say 67 to 81% of humanity. I'm obviously like pulling this out of my ass, but still, like let's say this number of people on Earth
What
would
I'm telling
find an ideology to be a common way of like ruling, ruling in general.
and what I'm
I mean,
telling
wouldn't it
you
be
is
possible?
no, no. What I'm telling you is that whenever the 80% will, join up on one ideology, after just one generation, that majority will divide. Humans thrive on adversary. What we need is a common set of rules, not law, rules that we don't do this and not do, we don't cross that line. And even that line should be flexible it should be, it should be able to progress with every next coming generation. Because people will always find a way to fight, a reason to fight, a method to get an adversary. That is what humans are. We
Well,
thrive on adversary.
yeah, I agree, but how do you differentiate the difference between laws and rules? You know, since and I'm not talking about a practical perspective. I'm talking about it being like pardon me. I mean, I'm talking about it being a practical perspective and not being a factual perspective of its definition. I'm talking about like since laws are rules, you know, they're like written rules that you have to that you have to follow. They are testaments from the government to you, just
I'll
like
give
the
the
testaments
Islamic.
from God
No,
to
no.
you.
I'll give the
I mean,
Islamic
there are
perspective.
Islamic laws.
No, I will give the
Was that like
Islamic perspective
Sharia
on that.
law or something like that?
Sharia.
I forgot it.
Dude, I'm even doubting you're from Turkey if you cannot pronounce that word right.
I mean, I
Because
forgot. I could forgot, but no, we don't say that word in Turkey. Are you? I mean, I don't think you could possibly be sure about that because
okay,
we
okay,
don't
okay,
refer to
okay.
those words in here.
I'll
They do
end
it more
that.
on
I'll end
states
that.
than in here. They do it more
If okay,
on
if you
states
give
than
me
here.
the translation of the next word and it's a Turkish word, I'll believe you're from Turkey. Banduk and sanduk.
Banduk and sanduk.
Yep. And both of these are Turkish words.
Well, I have to ask my grandfather for that because no, banduk and sanduk aren't Turkish words. They're probably old Turkish. I mean, why are you like? I mean, you could ask anyone here. I mean, you could say that I'm
I'll
uneducated
just
then, but
first of all, I'll just give you the benefit of doubt. I'll just
I
give you the
mean,
benefit
like
of doubt.
I've said, I don't think about religion on a daily basis,
These
or
are not
people
it's
around me don't even refer to these religious terms. So the difference
Banduk
between
means a
Turkey
gun,
and
a sanduk means a chest.
well,
I'm from Pakistan and I know that.
no, Banduk and Gunduk aren't Turkish.
Banduk,
They aren't
dude,
Turkish.
no, they are Turkish. I come from a family of teachers.
Well, Quran
And
isn't written in Turkish, you know.
these are not Quranic words. These are Turkish words.
Then are you sure you're spelling it right?
I know because I speak these words.
Well,
These
do you
words
want me
came
to
in.
speak in Turkish? Do you want me to speak in
No,
Turkish?
I can't understand Turkish. Anyways, I'll just give you the benefit
But you
of the
could
doubt.
understand it being an actual, but you could understand it being an actual language that I'm not making up from the way I speak, right?
Or I could just believe you.
Well, you could have faith in me, but
Yeah, I'll
the
do
point
that.
of the
I'll do
matter
that.
is, I'm just going to say you that we don't use those old world words in day-to-day life. We like
Mhm.
you have to go to religious school for like even for example, I have a religion class like how would I say it like I have a religion class in my school, like any other school in Turkey. You could either learn Quran or any other religion, like Christianity, Judaism, but mostly Quran, obviously. You could be absent from the class if you're like if your school choose like Quran or yeah, like I'm not going to get into that, but you could be absent from the
I
class,
understand. We are
which you
just
then have
we
to
are just
study philosophy
quote
instead
quote.
in
We are
order to
just
get points
deviating.
from. Yeah, well,
We are just
we don't use
deviating for
those
no
words in
reason.
day-to-day life. I just want
Okay,
you to
I'll
have
just believe.
faith in that,
I'll
but
just believe.
because it is a very
Quote. You
religious.
are you're trying too hard to prove something I already believe. I said
You
that you're
believe in
from Turkey.
people. You said that
I
what?
said I believe that you're from Turkey. You
Yeah,
don't
but
have to
you're
prove
like,
it to me.
I have to prove it to you.
No, you don't. You don't have to prove it to me. For goodness sake, you deviated the whole conversation.
Well,
And now I forgot what we were talking about.
yeah, that's kind of crazy, but
Anyways,
uh,
what do you think? Why is porn consumed in so much magnitude in the Islamic countries?
why do I think there are so much negativity towards Islamic countries?
No, the topic is porn.
Ah, porn. Wait. Ah, like a lot of porn being in Islamic countries. Wait,
Yes.
like the viewing of. Well, it's probably because people fantasize about pornography, since Islamic countries are more strong about their religion compared to most Christian countries, which are now like full of atheists and deists that believe in somewhat that people like they are like mostly full of people who believe in their personal version of the Bible. You know, they just take parts that they support and leave the rest. They implement some key features like praying, being nice and stuff, and they just live with it. They say they're a Christian, but they aren't religious at all. They open-mindedly say and state the fact that they aren't religious. So,
Okay,
but Islamic
so
countries have always been strictly more religious, and it's also a
if
much
they are more if they are more
religion, you know.
religious, don't you think that if they are more religious, there should be less consumption of porn, not more? And we can see
I,
that
d-
the Islamic countries consume more porn.
I don't. And why? Because people always fantasize about forbidden stuff, you know, stuff that are like taken away from them and all. And due to their culture, like woman being in like I forgot the name. It's
Burqa.
called turban here.
Okay, tabang.
Turban. It's called turban here. Like and like but well, I used to hardly ever to like well besides my points when it was like late 2000s like until 2013 there was like no woman wearing that because like only the gypsies were wearing that from like they were like immigrants and stuff selling flowers on the street and stuff but because it was actually banned it was
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
actually banned not the religion but that aspect was banned until the new president came
Uh-huh,
because
uh-huh.
well
So
anyway
yeah,
so
Burqa.
yeah you could already say that I'm not a fan of him, but uh, I dislike him. But still, back to the point. So yeah, I mean, people always see women wearing that in Islamic countries, especially like Saudi Arabia and stuff, where it's like very serious compared to here, which is like a personal thing, where you whether do it or not. But like in those countries it's like people fantasize more about seeing a woman. They even fantasize seeing their like hair and stuff, you know, like their skin in general, like their shoulders. Because, for example, I've never seen a woman like wearing turban, having like their skin open,
Okay, but here's the thing.
like their shoulders, for example,
No,
like
no,
basic stuff.
I understand. But the thing is, men in these countries do get married, don't they?
Yeah, they do, but there are a teenage population, you know. The Middle East in general has the highest teenage population on Earth,
And
especially Turkey.
at what age do these people get married?
Usually around their 20s. In
Around their 20s.
nowadays, around nowadays, of course. It
And
was
what will
probably earlier. It was probably around 18 or 19, maybe even 16. A lot of like very like a long time ago. Although there are still like child marriages today, but they're not the
so what do
majority.
you suggest?
They're
What do
not even
you
close.
suggest? Court, what do you suggest that if people would start to marry early, would porn consumption be reduced?
Well, I wouldn't think so because when they're married, uh, they are still being able to fantasize about that stuff. They're still being
But they
driven
get
to
this? No,
fantasize
no,
about that
no.
stuff. Do you know why?
Won't they be
Because their
satisfied?
wives are like let's say you have 24 hours a day, right? Out of
Uh-huh.
probably 23 hours a day or more until they have sexual intercourse. They always see their wives like wearing that stuff, like wearing various stuff to deprive themselves, you know, and I mean, they feel
What are you
deprived of.
talking about? I mean, what are you talking about, man? Wives get naked in front of them, man. You see the whole thing. You see the whole package in the bed.
Of course, but it's like they could still fantasize about other women since it's like
But
very
why would
limited.
they?
And why
And
wouldn't they? Because people are usually interested in women that are like
okay,
other than their wives too, and
no, no,
they're
no.
probably
Then
and they probably haven't been in a relationship before they got married, like a serious
because no.
relationship.
No, the thing is, in the Islamic countries, marriage is the relationship.
Yeah, so
Exactly.
that's
So
why. That's
basically, what
exactly
is
why
equivalent? Marriage is equivalent to a Western live-in relation, is it not?
it is. But well, I I wouldn't really know since Turkey isn't a Islamic country, although it's albeit going to be driven by it soon. I'm
It
afraid.
is.
No, it's
I'm
not. It's
sorry
a
to say, it
republic.
is.
Well,
It's going to be an
it's
Islamic
factually
country
not.
in this.
No, I mean I
No,
live here, and it's although it's very emphasized, like imposed here. It's nowhere close to being that way. In let's say it will probably were to happen in the next 60 to probably 55 years of like the country going downhill in terms of their politics. So they would
I am thinking.
I'm
Why
not
would you?
I'm not putting like Islamic religion as a way of justifying a country going downhill. I'm just saying that if a country goes more downhill and corrupt, they would probably be easier off just accepting an ideology that's closest to them, that's closest like
What
that's most
I'm telling
imposed
you
in
is,
them,
what I think is that
like China
Turkey.
going communist.
No. What I think is Turkey would become a completely Islamic country, just as same as Pakistan. I mean, I don't think they would actually make the whole Islamic world type of thing like the people actually want, but it would be an considered an Islamic country as early as 10 to 15 years. That's my
If
prophecy.
if the country goes downhill, if the country goes better, it would probably be a less religious and more atheist country in general,
No,
because
that
there are
that is
statistics that state that countries with like the least crime, the least casualties, the like the best, how would I say it, like the best relationships with other countries. I'm not talking about
no.
economics.
I
I'm talking about
correlation.
relationships. Are
No.
usually
These are
atheist.
correlations. They're correlations. These are not causations. You cannot say that these countries are atheists because they are better, or they are better because they're atheists, because this is not
But
a causation. This is a correlation.
But what is your causation then? What do you believe that the country will become more Islamic? Is it because of the population believing in Islam? Then I'm sorry to say that they are like they are listed as Islamic. I mean, they are listed as Muslim, but they are like hardly ever religious. Only around like 38
You
to
don't even know
45% of the
do
country
you even
is.
realize? Do you even
I do
realize
know it.
how much work the
You know I can
Tablighi
stutter, right?
what?
You know I can stutter, right? And in our language, we don't usually refer to Islam as Islam. We usually call people by the name of Muslim and call the religion Muslim, because it's considered like you have to like say it in only very serious like topics and conversations. It's kind of a cultural thing as opposed to a technical aspect of
No,
like calling a religion's name in here.
what I'm telling
If you
you,
feel me.
sir, is that in Pakistan there is an organization called the Tablighi Jamaat, and they are working towards making the Islamic countries more religious. And from the way I see it, they are getting a pretty
Wait,
good hand.
how do I spell that, and what type of organization is that? I know they're like you told me they're what they're driven by, but how do they operate?
they send preachers around the Islamic world.
Oh, so I first thought that was a terrorist organization, but no, that's nice. That's more lighthearted than what I imagined. That's just
And they are
yeah.
getting a lot of attention, and they are getting a lot of members,
There.
and
Well,
they are working very hard in Turkey.
really,
So I think that it would take from 10 to 15 years.
that's why I've never heard of them. They, I mean,
No, you
they
you
they
don't even,
you can't.
you
I
have
mean,
not heard,
it would be very
you have not
stupid of
heard of,
you to
no, no,
just
no,
consider
you
them
have
a
not heard of
causation
them
for the
because you
country to
don't
become.
care. No, Court, you have not heard about them because you don't care.
No, not well. Yeah, you could
I
say
mean,
that, but they're
you
always in
don't
the
pay
news, you
attention.
know. No,
You
but
don't pay
religious stuff is
attention to the
always in the
Islamic world.
news, and it is. I don't.
No, Tablighi
I didn't.
Jamaat does not come on the news. It's not
Oh,
their way of working.
they don't come on the. They don't come to the news. Why
No,
then?
they just go
Well,
from house to house, from mosque to
oh,
mosque.
well. Guess what? They are on the news. I didn't know their name until you said it, but the police warns you
Mm-hmm.
of them. The police warns you of them, like people either impersonating them or them being like questionable people, and police warning you has became a questionable topic within of itself. Like people arguing with each other whether the police should warn you about it or not, and so it is a no, it's far from what you're saying. I don't believe that organization will be the sole causation of
Oh no,
my
not the soul
country to
causation.
become
No, not
Islamic.
the soul. I know, but I'm saying that they will make an impact.
Uh,
Uh,
I don't think
wait a
that's a
minute.
big impact. I'm sorry, I don't. Like you could just have faith in a person when they're talking to you, right? You could also
Okay,
have not,
okay, but
and I choose to
let's.
not because that I don't think that's very. I gave you this statement, and that's why I think that's not a very possible like explanation or like let's say even an impact of them to be
No,
have created.
we are basically talking about a future that we have no control over. Things
Well,
can go one way or another way, and
yeah, like yeah, exactly. Like you said, it could go another way, and I don't believe in that way
that should. Uh,
because that doesn't seem so likely to me.
Everyone has
I
the.
imagine more corrupt stuff. I mean, I don't consider that corruption, but that's what that will be given birth to by corruption. It's not going to be lighthearted like you imagine. It's probably if that were to be if that were to happen, it would definitely happen, but not soon. But and that would probably be the causation of a worldwide crisis. Or pardon me, I mean a countrywide crisis, like a whole nation's crisis would probably give birth to that ideology or the
Maybe,
country being
but
consumed by it.
honestly
And
speaking,
don't take my words as negatives,
no, no,
uh,
no, of course not, of
when
course,
I'm saying like consumption and stuff, you could also
no, no,
call like
no,
atheism or like a brand's like a, let's say
no, no, no.
you could even
I
count
don't get offended.
yeah,
I
you could
don't
even
get
like
offended.
count because I'm not saying in that manner, you could even say that the Avengers Endgame is consuming the cinemas, in
Yeah,
like
I
in a
understand that.
worldwide.
Believe me, I don't get offended. I took this AMA because I have the heart to listen to people. I can, I will not be offended by anyone.
That's why I'm
Uh,
very comfortable talking to you. I have noticed
yeah.
that.
The thing, and first of all, we are talking about a future, and I think that's wastage of time. Anything can go, and neither of us are in a position that we can do anything about it, and at least not yet. The thing is, what I personally believe, if a country actually goes towards an Islamic country, because the Western countries, it's a completely different story. It's a completely different story. It's a completely different revolution. But if an Islamic country adopts the actual Islamic methods, and I'm saying the actual, because what the clerics teach us, what the mullahs teach us, what the imams teach us, mostly is bullshit. Majority of time, it's complete bullshit. And you have to actually read the scriptures to,
To decide yourself.
understand. Yes, what?
So hold on, my headphones. Okay.
I said that
No.
if you actually use the Islamic ideology in the legal systems of Islamic countries, I believe they will actually get better. But first, before that, you actually have to define the Islamic methods, and what methods are for politics and what methods are there for the governing. Because what most of the imams teach us, first of all, they are dumb as shit. Most of them. Secondly, they don't even pay attention to what their own work is. You have to rely on your own education and read the scriptures by yourself to actually understand what Islamic uh, regulations are in regards to governing. And it makes me sad that most of the people do not even know that. Most of the imams do not even know that. What are the Islamic regulations to govern a country? To do politics. Islam does teach you how to do politics, but nobody is willing to read. That is why we are fucked up. That is the reason, if an Islamic country stops saying that it is an Islamic country and they just go full Western, they will actually become better. But if an Islamic country says that it's an Islamic country and then not do it, it will get fucked. If you claim to be an Islamic country, you must actually follow the Islamic rules for you to work. Otherwise, you're going to the dump. And that is what happened to Turkey. They claim to be
Well,
Islamic and then they are not.
we never claimed.
You were
Where
the
do you
you
where do
were
you
the
get that? Huh?
caliphate.
I'm sorry, where do you get
You
that? We never
the
claimed.
Turkish
There have been
Turkey
like
was the caliphate.
charlatans claiming that they have been to one religion or other.
No, I
Like
mean, I'm
there
sorry
have
to
been
say,
people who have been promoting
Turkey.
like one religion or other, but it wasn't like I'm calling them charlatans because they had no justification for their claims. I'm not calling the religion that, but or preachers of a religion a charlatan, but I'm calling them a charlatan. They had
No,
no
what
justification.
I'm you can't say that Turkey was never an Islamic country. Turkey was the caliphate of the Muslims for thousands, for hundreds of years.
I
You
mean, could
cannot
you
say that
Google the
Turkey was.
definition of? No, it wasn't Turkey. I mean, Turks in general weren't like Muslim to be start with,
No, no, no,
but
no, no. Before Kemal Atatürk, Turkey was the head of the Islamic world.
no. Do you know? Wait, before whom?
Kemal Atatürk.
Atatürk. Yeah. Well,
Before him, Turkey
now
was the
that's
head of the
now that's a
Islamic
very
world.
sensitive question. Now I'm going to ask like a how would I say it, like a football team supporter, like a borderline fanatic, but just take it with a grain of salt. I'm just going to say that yeah, before Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, it wasn't Turkey, it was the Ottoman Empire being fallen
Same
apart.
thing. Same
And
thing.
no, not same thing.
For
The Ottoman
for the
Empire
world,
consisted of
for everyone
many
else.
nations.
No,
The
for
Ottoman
everyone
Empire
else.
consisted of mostly Christians and also wait. The Ottoman Empire wasn't even a Muslim country. It was a Muslim-heavy country with like you have said, the like headquarters of like religious operations and stuff. like testimonials and stuff, but it wasn't. It was just because it was a very diverse empire.
No, 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 no.
It was housing
I would
many
have to
religions.
disagree. For the rest of
I
the
mean, could you
world,
look up the definition of that empire that have been like viewed by many experts in that field, like
no, no,
professors
no,
and stuff?
no, no. You have to see this in the perspective of the rest of the Islamic world. For
So
every
your
other
respective
Islamic,
opinion, right? On
no, no,
on
no. It's not opinions. You know, the princes in Balochistan were not crowned unless the crown was, given a thumbs up from the Turkish Empire. Throughout the Islamic world, Turkey was, the head, the big boss. It was Turkey.
it was Ottoman Empire. It's two different things.
You can say
Turkey
that
has
it's true.
for the
No, you.
first of all, Turkey has like like much less land, like quarter of it, quarter of what the Ottoman
I
Empire
know
had.
what I know
Even
what
at its
Ottoman
like
I know
like
what Ottoman Empire is, but the people who were the Khalifa, they were Turk.
oh yeah, but
They were Turk, and the majority of the Turkish people were Muslims. And the Turkish people were considered the leaders of the Islamic world.
of course I see what you're
Simply
saying,
right
but
now, I
the
mean,
country
it
itself
changed.
was
It changed. I see Pakistan in that light. Pakistan is the strongest army in the Islamic world, and the Islamic countries actually do look up to us, even though we are fucking up so hard. We are fucking up so hard, but still, the rest of the Islamic world looks up to us. Turkey was in that position. So you can't say that Turkey was not and I still consider it an Islamic country. Not practicing because nobody is practicing. But in the in the eyes of the world, Turkey is an Islamic country.
well.
And
Could you give me an example of my country following an Islamic statement when it comes to the law?
there is no Islamic country that does that anymore. What do you think
Are you
that
sure?
every other
Saudi
what yeah,
Arabia?
Saudi Arabia
Can't
does
sell
what?
pork products there, for example. You can't even sell it in the country. Whereas here, I can get it from the supermarket, from the butcher, from
Is
anywhere I
that
want.
Islamic? Is that Islamic?
Pork is a sin.
No, eating for the Muslims is not allowed. Selling
Yeah, it's a
pork by
sin.
no, you're taking it the wrong way. Selling pork by saying that it is pork is not disallowed.
So selling it is not disallowed, but eating it for
For the Muslims, not for the Christians, not for anyone else.
well, in
Just like it
Saudi
is.
Arabia, even selling it is forbidden.
Well, Saudi Arabia is an extremist country and nobody gives a fuck about them besides the
Well,
fact
isn't
that they are.
religion an extremist ideology compared to
No, no,
most
no.
ideologies? Isn't
They
it
are
like well, you
they are
can't
an
evolve a
extremist
religion, but you
country.
can evolve communism. You
What do
can
you
evolve,
mean?
yeah, you can evolve capitalism or communism, but you can't evolve a religion without.
That's no. I would have to disagree. Islam claims to be a universal religion for all places and all times. That is because Islam actually does give you space for progression. It is written down. You can become flexible, you can add in new things when seen from the modern world. But there are some ground rules that you not disrupt. Those are ground rules, not the laws of the land. They are not dictated in the Islamic world. I mean, they're not supposed to be, but they are being done there, and that is wrong. That is why I'm saying that the people do not even know what Islamic way of governing is. Saudi
Well,
Arabia is an extremist country.
All right. What are some of those rules?
Some of what rules?
The ones you were just talking about, the ones that are written down and the ones that you're allowed to modify?
The ones you are allowed to modify any rule or regulation that is not written down to not be changed. For example, uh, you are allowed to change taxes. You are allowed to change methods of taxes. You're allowed to change methods of selecting people who will govern. You're allowed to give new laws and regulations regarding the new things that are invented. You're allowed to make
Okay, so
new
is
methods
there
of governing.
anything is there anything like significant then?
Significantly done.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Democracy.
what are the rules
Democracy.
that
No, democracy. Democracy is a
okay.
new addition in the Islamic world. It was adopted under the light of the Islamic laws.
Right. So the thing with
Well,
democracy is it's great until you don't get your own way. So
Exactly, but it can be allowed in an Islamic world. It is not disallowed
okay,
because
well,
first when it came, people were against it. But after, the process of adding new laws is called ijtihad, and it is a very important topic in Islam. And the problem with the Islamic world and the imams and the clerics is that they do not work on ijtihad. Ijtihad means adding new. Ijtihad means working with new things,
okay. I
and
think
that is the reason why the Islamic world is behind. That is the reason why Islamic world fell behind.
okay. Xcode, your mic.
well, I mean, I was going to say that I do understand and have somewhat of a faith in your conviction when it came to, like, when it came to an ideology, like, as opposed to an ideology like Islam, having to be like, you know, consisted of like an Islamic country has laws like, having to be only consisted of what's given in the testimonials of Quran. But but I but I also have to say that, I mean,
Quran is a
like your
constitution. It is not
direct,
a rule
like
book.
your forward way of thinking, like,
No, my way of
I
thinking
mean,
is confined to Islam. If I say something that is out of
I mean,
Islam, I make it
that's
that.
exactly what you've said. You're not being able to romanticize your ideology to us because you're not like, being open-minded when it comes to
No,
like,
no, 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 no.
like, you know,
You're
you've said
you're
you
confusing
are,
me.
you
You're
you are
confusing
open,
me.
you're open to you are open to our opinion, but you're not open to be,
No, no,
like,
it's not like that. It's
fall
not like
for.
that. I think you
But
got
it
me
doesn't
wrong.
seem like it. You've just been like claiming, like, you've just been making forward claims as opposed to like my country being like Islamic now, like as opposed to it being like written down
No,
and
no, no. That
affecting
is
the law.
that is a subjective thing.
Because I've
Okay.
done the same thing against you, and
No, that is
I
exactly
see
that
that
is
as,
subjective. That's subjective.
yeah, that's subjective.
My perspective of looking at a country. I mean, Bosnia, in my view, is an Islamic country, even though there is not even a single person there that is practicing Islam, even 10%.
Well, you should have said that because that's a very, like, that's a
The
very
people who identify
broad
to me,
subjective belief,
no, to
as
me,
opposed to me saying out the facts.
no, no,
I'm
to
just
me, an
talking
Islam
over the
for the
facts with
people.
very minimal subjective opinion just to
No,
convince you that you're like,
for the people around the world, for the Muslims around the world, any country that identifies as Muslim is considered a Muslim country.
well, you're still just opening your hearts here. You're not like, stating facts,
Facts
That's
about
not a
what?
fact. That's a
No.
subjective opinion. That's a broad statement.
For
That's kind
any
of a naive
country,
statement.
no, for any country to be factually Islamic is impossible to be written down in
No, it's not.
law.
There have been actual Islamic countries before, and even Saudi
For
Arabia is an
example,
extremist country, is Islamic country. It is an
oh, okay,
Islamic
no, no,
country
no.
with, well, it of course it should have some
Every other,
differentiates.
no.
Well,
I would have to
if
disagree.
it doesn't have
Every other
certain
Islamic
differentiates,
country, every
well, do
other
you want that
Islamic
country to
country.
get in war if
No,
it
no,
wouldn't
no.
have the political, like, all other world
Tell me this.
nations
Tell me this.
differentiates it?
No. Tell me this. Every other Islamic country considers the Arabian rule of law an extremist law. So how can you say that they are the epitome of an Islamic country when most of the Muslims disagree with them?
Because most of those Islamic countries are somewhat following it, if not entirely, and the only reason they're not following it entirely isn't because of the comfort of their citizens and their beliefs. It's because
There is
it's because of their other
not
world
even
relationships
Arabs.
with other countries.
No,
If they
not
do
even
if they
Arabs.
do follow it 100%, they're going to get into war. And
No,
I mean,
no. Not even
of course,
Arabs
because it's
for.
of course because it crosses with their like
What I'm
with their
saying here is that
it crosses with their like interest in
not even the
like.
Arabs follow Saudi Arabia. Bahrain does not follow Saudi Arabia. Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, so Dubai, United Arab Emirates, all of them do not follow the Arabian method of law.
Well, that's that. I mean, I know
Sudan,
that's your reason for
Egypt,
calling Turkey an Islamic country, since they could never follow the law. But
no other
I could
country
also
can.
disagree with that because no,
No other
because
country does because Saudi Arabia is not considered the Islamic country for any other Islamic country because of their method of ruling. They are considered Islamic country because they identify as it. Bosnia is
Turkey
considered an
doesn't identify it, and I just gave you a couple facts and reasons to why.
your
I mean,
government
the
disagrees.
only like
Your
the
government disagrees.
so like around
Andy,
like 90% of the registered, so around 90% of the registered Turkish people, like their citizens cards says that they are Muslim, but only 30% are like actually religious or like following the like every statement
and
of
for
Quran
the
in a doable manner. I'm
no,
not like talking about like people
and
occasionally sinning.
for
You
the
know, I'm
Islamic
talking about
world, for the Islamic world, that written text on their identification card is enough.
is enough.
Is enough. It is
But the country
enough
doesn't
for us.
identify it. Well,
No.
the Islamic
The
countries have the countries that are considered Islamic by other world nations, while Turkey isn't considered by them, as opposed to your belief,
who says that?
are following somewhat of those laws. They're somewhat following it, if not entirely.
No,
Like,
no,
you're
no,
saying that
no,
they should follow it entirely to the point of them then achieving
no. I'm telling you a idealistic world, not what is happening.
well, I don't see it, and it's
And
not
you
my
just
ideal. It's not the
true, but
majority's ideal. That's why the
no.
Islam
That's how the Islamic world
being.
works. That is how the Islamic world works. If anyone says that they are Muslim, we think that they are, and we think of them as our brethren. I mean, for any Pakistani, Turkey is like a brother country.
Well, I'm sorry to say that in Turkey, if you say that you're a Muslim, you're like a Muslim brother and stuff, they just don't take you seriously or just laugh their ass off. Let's say you
It
see
doesn't
two people
matter.
fighting and say that they shouldn't fight because they're both Muslims and brothers, they wouldn't give a fuck.
It doesn't
They
matter.
just say it to flex. In Turkey,
It doesn't matter for the rest
in
of the
Turkey,
world.
even religious people, like people who claim they are religious, only say it because they're like saying it to flex their egos. I suppose. I mean, I've been living here for all my
I
life.
understand that. I understand
I
that,
mean,
but
you
what
can't
I'm
know.
saying,
I
what
know
I'm
what you're
saying
trying to
is,
say, but you can't know it better than me about
no, no,
how life
no.
goes here.
I'm
Because,
speaking from the rest of the world's perspective.
well, if you're speaking from the rest
First
of
of
the world's
all,
perspective and saying that the identification card is enough when it comes to the population, then you should also accept the country's morals as like the way it's being dictated, and it's a
no, we
republic.
don't. No, we
Well,
don't.
you're being biased, and
It's
you're
not
being
biased.
biased. It is
Yes, the
biased.
Islamic world is biased towards Muslim.
Well, why did you regret it at first then?
I did not regret
What
anything.
was what was it that no, you said no first, but what
I
was it that
said,
crossed your mind at
no,
first?
no. I
I
said
just want
that
to know that. Yeah, I
what I
see
said
what you have said,
was,
but yeah, I did
what
hear
I
it.
said was, Saudi Arabia is not considered Muslim country because of their laws. They are considered Muslim because they said so.
Well,
That's what I said.
I mean, where like a lot of experts get into that
You-
identification of a country. It's not just because they have wanted it, and there's a reason why they have wanted it too. Even the reason, even the sole fact of them just having wanted to be identified as that goes through a lot of trial and error as opposed to
I don't
experts
understand your.
like
I don't understand the reason of this discussion. To be honest, where are we heading at?
well, you've started
Ashley,
it.
moderate, man.
You've made bold
Yeah,
claims
I'm
about.
here. What's up?
I said moderate. I'm not thinking that this discussion is heading anywhere.
Okay, so do you want to change the topic briefly?
Yeah, I would prefer that. I mean, we're not going anywhere and not reaching
Yeah, of
any.
course, because that's a very subjective viewpoint.
Yeah, subjective point of views are not very fun.
Okay,
Yeah.
where do you want to go with this, Sid? Where do you
You're
want
the
to...
boss, man. You're the
No,
boss.
no, I'm not anybody's boss. Like,
You're my boss.
what's your next topic?
You decide.
I don't think it's entirely fair if I decide because, like, I'd take it in a different direction, but
It's okay.
that
We're
might
just having
bore
fun.
everybody.
We're
So,
just having fun. Come on.
yeah, sure. This is a light-hearted thing. It's not a debate. It's in the debate channel, but it's not actually a debate. So,
Yeah, this is
Of
not a
course.
debate right now. This is just discussion among friends.
Of
absolutely.
course.
So, I guess I want to ask Xcode Punk a question. Xcode, are you a theist, an atheist? Like, where do you stand on this?
Well, I mean, that's to make it clear, I mean, I I would just like blandly state myself as an atheist, but
Mhm.
my
Yeah,
like
we're not going to get
my
like
way of
too
I mean,
philosophical.
I'd probably identify myself as a deist because it does go through emotions and cultural dictation over my like the way the culture dictates the way I think. You know,
Right.
although be it I'm still doing it within the context
Well, I
of
mean,
my morals.
deism is God created the universe and then fucked off, basically. I mean,
Yeah, but
is that what you think? Because if it
that
is, cool.
I'm probably like I could say I'm probably like a wandering atheist, maybe a theist. Um, I
You
still don't know how
can't
to
be both.
identify myself, but all I'm going to say is I'm probably just a very like I'm an atheist that's exploring, that's exploring various ideas, trying to follow them, trying to have faith in them, but then going back to the roots, essence of what I am, and
What
that's
does that
atheism.
mean? What's the
It's
essence of what
atheism. I'm
you
just exploring through various beliefs, trying to I'm trying to like occupy them to see whether they work
are?
or
Okay.
not for me. And
Yeah, that's fine.
every
By
time I
all
do
means,
that, I
do.
just come back to atheism.
Yeah, sure. That's fair. I understand where you're coming from. So, Sid, do you have any comments on that?
What can I comment about that? I mean, he's from Turkey, and they are forcefully modernized population. Their history is that of forceful uh, religiousness. So I cannot blame
For true religious lessons mı? Wait, what?
forced from in every other country. What we think of Kemal Atatürk is that he forcefully uh, caused religiousness in Turkey.
Oh.
Religiousness.
Oh, you don't say that.
Religiousness. In every other country, we think that.
You don't say both of that. You shouldn't make that claim first, and you can say that. You can say the.
Okay. Just for Pakistan, I can make that for Pakistan. Would that
You
be
know,
okay?
And
you
Anna,
know,
are you here?
I'm going to
I
go
know
out.
you're listening.
You know,
but
I'm going
are
to
you
go with
here?
facts that, like, well, basically, Mustafa Kemal Atatürk was Muslim. You know,
I know.
he was Muslim, and the reason he, not forcefully, but was voted to turn the country into a republic while he was asked to become a sultan or whatever by the nation itself.
No.
He
We
he
have a completely different
he
view here.
had he had
We have
actually
a
like made
completely different
he
view
had
here.
protection over religion and each religion.
No.
He was an open-minded person.
He was the
Well,
person.
you're right about
He was
him.
the
Kind of
person
like
who took down. He was
you're
the
wrong
person
about
who
him
took
banning
down the
Islam,
Ottoman
and you're
Empire.
kind of right about him.
No, he was the person who took down the Ottoman Empire. For
Uh,
every other Islamic country, that is bad.
well, he didn't ban Islam. He didn't make it a taboo, but he
I
made it. But he gave it the same rights within the country that any other religion had, and that's the
Yeah,
same way
and you're
going. No
saying that
matter what
other
the
no, you're
population
saying
be.
that what you're saying is in the Ottoman
But
Empire,
that's
other religions did not have rights.
well, it was kind of similar though, to be honest with you. But it's what he did is like equalating all religion,
What
no
he did
matter what the
was
population may
no.
be.
What he did was destroy the Islamic Caliphate.
Not really,
What else did he do?
because he did actually support mm, each religion, but which also consists
What
of
what he
Islam, to
actually
have
what he actually did was you can give it a guise of any other thing, but the end of the day, what Kemal Atatürk did was destroy the Ottoman Empire, to take down the
well, he
Sultan,
didn't
who
destroy
said,
it.
let
He
me
saved
tell you,
Turks, you know.
saved it
Where do
from
you fucking
what?
get that from? He kind of
From
saved the country, you know, from
saved from what?
collapsing. He had to make a new one
Yeah,
because it
yeah.
wasn't the same nation. No, it didn't consist of the same population, the same laws, the same nation, the same people on top of it, because it was an empire. It wasn't an you know, it wasn't a, how do I say it? It wasn't a
It's
state.
an
It wasn't a,
empire that every Muslim
so a
country looks
family
up.
ruled it, you know. So he
I
had to
know,
make it the country of Turks, as opposed to
I
a
understand that.
family's country empire.
And why is that right?
It is right because after the war, after the first war, when the country collapsed, like these sultans were nowhere to be seen, and
Uh-huh.
Mustafa Kemal Atatürk was in
Let me ask you. Uh,
the army.
no, let
He
me
was in
ask
the
you.
Ottoman army, you know, in the First World War.
I
He
know he
then
was a
made the country
I know
because
he
there
was
was
a
no Ottoman
young Sheri.
Empire. That's
No,
the
no,
reason.
no,
There was
no.
no Ottoman Empire. The
Let me
Sultan was
ask
nowhere
you.
to be seen.
Let me
He
ask you.
escaped to England.
Let me ask you. If we're talking about England, did not the English monarchy do that on so many occasions throughout its history?
I couldn't hear you. Pardon me.
I said that did not the English monarchs do that same thing throughout their history. No one in the world right now can say that the British should take their monarchy and shove them out of England.
Well, what
Everyone
Mustafa
would think
Kemal
that it is
Atatürk did
wrong.
was what he did wasn't a monarchy, you know. It wasn't a monarchy. And
What
I'm
was it?
waiting for you to disprove me.
No, what's it then if it was not monarchy?
Then where do you get that?
I'm asking you, what was it if it was not a monarchy?
I've
Because you
stated
said
that. I've
you said that
stated
it
to you
was
that the country was over. Pardon me, not the country. The empire was over. There was nothing, and he didn't end it. He wasn't the one that ended it. The Sultan escaped the nation because we lost, and then we won our freedom to some extent. We've lost a lot of land and stuff, but we've got the core essence of what Turks have always been around at, the Anatolia.
you're telling me that Turks were wronged by Turks.
I'm telling you what?
You are telling me that the Turks were wronged by Turks because the
Well,
Sultan was a Turk.
yeah, that's what happened. We kind of fucked. We we kind of fucked ourselves up, and it was because of the Sultan's interest and the other countries' interest in kind of destroying the country. It wasn't mostly Turks. We aren't the ones to blame, but it was a war in general. Like shit happens, and we rebuilt,
And the country
and
that
Turks
Kemal
rebuilt,
Atatürk.
not
No,
the empire, because the
what
empire is a sub. It's like a subgenre, a sub family within the
in the
Turks
eyes of
community.
the Islamic world, quote, in the eyes of the Islamic world, Kemal Atatürk changed the Turkish people by making policies that would slowly but surely cause the Turkish people to come into religiousness. That is what
Well,
the rest of the Islamic world thinks.
well, you could argue with that, but for so
At least in Pakistan, that is what they think. I can
well,
speak for
first
Pakistan.
and foremost, you could argue with that, but I don't see
No,
that going
in
somewhere
Pakistan,
because it's stated. There are facts that yeah, he might have had an influence in at the fact that the country have became less religious, although they be it are coded as Muslim people in their identification cards because of family,
and
like
that
place of
is
birth and stuff.
that
And you're kind of
influence.
annoyed by it, right?
No,
The
no,
people not being
we're not
religious.
annoyed. No, I'm not annoyed. Just want, and you basically proved my point. You said that
No, I
he,
didn't. I've just said I was just going somewhere. I just repeated to you.
no.
I just
You
repeated to you. I
what you
was
said.
saying that. Oh,
You said that he might have played a part or something like that. I don't know. I mean, I just
I
you
said
just said the
letting
word and I
anything, but I've said
forgot.
that he saved Turks from the collapse of a Turkish families, a sub community within Turks fall that dictated their faith, like their how would I say it,
You're
like
telling
their
that
lives.
Kemal Atatürk has nothing to do with how the Turks are not religious anymore.
Well, I it would be
Your silence speaks words, sir.
not. No, I'm just thinking. I'm thinking of like trying to like not oppose you as much as I thought I was going to do, but yeah, I see what you get
I
by that. But
if you
no,
get
I'm
if
I'm
you're getting
saying that no.
afraid, court, if you're
no,
getting
my
afraid,
opinion
believe
is
me, I
my
don't get
opinion
offended.
is he wasn't the major cause. He might have unintentionally caused that, but it wasn't his. How would I say it? It wasn't
Intentions?
what he wanted to do. It
Yeah,
was
but
he
he did
was
it. And we Muslims,
not really. Like I've said, he wasn't the major cause. He was probably just a
he started
correlation.
it. He
He
started
wasn't the
it.
cause. He was a correlation. No, he just
No,
made
no,
the
he,
country. No,
we believe he
in a
started it.
republic,
For
he's not the. He's not a sultan. He's not like the
I
American
know,
style,
but
like the.
he is the
He's
person
not
who
the empire
started
of
it.
a state as opposed to being a
Can you
president.
at least agree that he was the person who started it?
No, because it was elected.
So
Asking
after
doesn't
election,
justify you by having started it. It was elected to have those rules by various parties and not the Ataturk's party alone. That's why you're
you
wrong. He is a correlation, but he's not. He is not the direct cause. The cause is countries' laws being formed by the population's votes, determining
I
what
know
what were to
politics
become,
enough
and
to
they
tell
and
you
they
that
chose
that does
Ataturk.
not happen.
They
I
chose.
no, I know politics enough to know that this is not how laws are made. Laws are not made by
Well, the
popular
country
demand.
was being formed for the first time. I'm not
No,
talking
no,
about how
no.
laws are
In
being made.
no
I'm
matter what
talking
the
about a
decisions.
country that's being built from like
Yes, even if
scratch.
it's built. What I know, and my country was also built from the start. And I know for a fact, laws are made by the elites.
By the
Laws are
elite.
made elite.
Well, that's a subjective point because
No, no,
Turkey was
no.
in a
It's
desperate
not.
situation. No, Turkey was
The
in a
elites
desperate
are
situation
never.
where
No, I would have to correct you on that.
everyone had
You
faith
have
in.
to wake up a little bit on that. Elites are never in a desperate situation.
I didn't say elites were in a desperate situation. I said
Elites make the
the
laws.
country, the people were in it.
Yes, the people, but still, elites make the laws. Everywhere around the
Well,
world. In
if you
America,
say so, then I
Pakistan.
could say that they had points of. Well, they had points of.
Now let me tell
They
you
might
what
have not have the points of interest
No,
that you would have
now let
think.
me tell you what
They might
Kamal
have had the
Atatürk did.
conflicts. No, Mustafa Kemal Atatürk have had conflicts with other parties, of course, but
Yes, but
the
let me tell you what
population
he
have
did.
chose him, and
He
the other parties were
empowered.
also the
He
elite. The
empowered
elite had conflicts
the.
within of itself, within
No,
of each
he
other.
empowered.
No, he
He
didn't empower anything.
empowered
He took votes.
the non. You don't know politics now,
I
do
do
you?
know it's your subjective opinion. The country was in a
Anyways,
desperate
at
state.
the end
That's
of the
why
at the end of the
the country was
at the
desperate
end of the
to
day, you're
actually
a
have a.
no. At the end of the day, you're an atheist, and there's no one who can do anything about it.
You can't say that because that's
And
your
we're
subjective opinion still.
no, you just said that you're an atheist. Did you?
Hold on, your voice is kind of getting cut off.
I said that we are talking about a person who lived in a past, and we're getting
Who
nowhere.
lived in a what?
Who lived in the past?
Is it me or just?
I think my connection is getting down. Anyways, SD,
I'm sorry. I mean, you kind of have to
I
repeat that in order for me to give an answer.
my connection is getting flawed. My connection is breaking. I'll just write it down.
I mean, I'm kind of going. It might sound off as a joke, but if you were to say that about like Kemal Atatürk, people would probably like bash 1,000 facts through your face unless they kind of tabooed you, because I mean that's Islamic nation's point of interest, which I don't follow. So you can't kind of the conversation is also not going to somewhere, and it's also a very sensitive topic that although I am very open to discuss, also notice that doesn't go somewhere just because of the sheer
Yeah.
fact of me giving out facts as opposed to you, but still respectively giving out your like not your
Respect.
but just the entire like Islamic nation's broad perspective and opinion on that matter. I'm giving you facts and you're giving me a few nations opinion, which is still a very valid statements, right? But I don't agree with that, and I don't see that going somewhere
No, I understand
because it's
that. I
religion.
mean,
It's easy as
history. No,
stating that.
what I know is that history is written by victors, and we cannot change that.
History. I'm not trying to change history. I'm stating historical facts.
Exactly. What I'm saying is,
Well, if you have said
history
exactly,
cannot
that
be.
comes to the point of you having just said a subjective view. You know, if you've said exactly to what I've said as a reply, that also means that what you've just said is a subjective opinion on your part, and you're just throwing it away like as if it's a fact,
No,
which is
I
but not in
am
the
just.
context of what you're saying.
No, you told me
I
the
may be,
history.
I'm sorry,
I
but
told you.
I may be kind of having trouble like describing what how I feel about your convictions, but but like I've said, it is what I've said. It is like
Yeah.
although how
Hey,
funny it
am I even
sounds.
clear? I think, court, am I even clear? Because I don't think that my voice is clear right now.
Yeah, you're not in both terms sharing
Yeah,
what
I
you think
think we
and
should
your voice kind of getting stuttered.
use the. Yeah, I'm having problem with the voice.
Yeah, that's a bummer. I've had it. I've had it a while ago. I've just changed my internet provider.
Everybody
You know,
okay?
I can download pornography faster than God could catch
Yeah,
me.
SD, I think my connection is done for. Uh, I think the video is done because there is no AMA going on otherwise.
You're breaking up a little bit. My
By the way,
apologies. I've been gone for a little while. I had to take
since
a
you
phone
came
call.
in,
No,
SD,
I'll
since you
type
came
it.
in, could I back off now? Since you came in, and someone else may take it from here. Since I just want to listen for a while now, and you know, I'm kind of over. I've spent I've spent a lot of time here, and you're here like, and
Sure. I
Seed,
mean,
you're here the one that Slicer. You're here. You're the one here who's like inviting people, right? To discussing your morals
Yeah,
and
yeah, sure,
yeah.
exactly.
what was
Okay.
the?
So
I've got about 20 minutes left. So what was the last point of
no,
conclusion?
what the last point was the history of the Turks, and that my voice is breaking.
I'm really sorry,
Can you
Sid,
even hear
but
me?
I'm.
Yeah,
You're breaking up
I
quite
think my
bad.
voice is breaking.
Yeah,
Yeah, my
I think
connection
we're
is
all
very
having
bad.
that trouble.
I think we are done here. I think I'd write it down. SD.
Okay,
I
I think
think I will
at this
write
point, what I'm
it
going to do, I'm going to stop the
down.
recording.
Yeah, I'm just going to thank you for being very polite in your while discussing very sensitive
Uh,
topics. I'm just going to back off that way.